previous attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii caused many Americans to believe that enemy raids on the continental United States were imminent. Americans are on heightened alert. Drills were a regular occurrence for the people as a preparation for an impending attack on home soil by the Japanese. On the 9th of December 1941, on the West Coast, inexperienced pilots and radar personnel had mistaken fishing vessels and whales for Japanese warships and submarines. This false and inaccurate reports further intensifies the tension on the mainland due to fears of an impending attack. Tensions were high, and only grew larger after Secretary of War Henry Stimson warned American cities should be prepared for occasional blows from enemy forces, meaning the public should be ready for potential attacks on home soil, adding more fear and panic to the people. On February 23, 1942, it was soon realized, when a Japanese submarine surfaced off the coast of Santa Barbara, California. The submarine hurled over a dozen artillery shells at an oil refinery. The attack inflicted no casualties and caused minor damage. It marked the first time that the mainland United States had been attacked during the Second World War. On the evening of February 24, 1942, unidentified objects caused a succession of alerts in Southern California. A warning provided by military intelligence indicated that an attack could be expected within the next 10 hours. An alert called at 7:18 in the evening was lifted at 10:23 and the tension temporarily relaxed. In the morning of the 25th, radars picked up an unidentified target 120 miles west of Los Angeles. At 2:15, anti-aircraft artilleries were alerted and were put on green alert. Later, the regional controller ordered a blackout of the area. A Coast Artillery colonel reported that about 25 planes were spotted at around 12,000 feet, hovering above the Los Angeles airspace. Anti-aircraft guns and begun sweeping the skies with searchlights. At 3:10, a balloon carrying a red flare was seen over Santa Monica. Sirens sounded, and a citywide blackout was put into effect. 4 batteries of anti-aircraft artillery opened fire. Whereupon description of personnel on site. The air over Los Angeles erupted like a volcano. As smoke from exploding shells began collecting in the sky, civilians and army gunners both reported sightings of enemy aircrafts, falling bombs and Japanese paratroopers on the streets of Los Angeles. Another report came in claiming that a Japanese aircraft had crashed in Hollywood. The artillery fire over the city continued for more than an hour. When a ceasefire was ordered, anti-aircraft gunners had expended more than 1,400 rounds of ammunition, causing quite a bit of damage to structures. Civilians believed that they were going to see a Japanese invasion by daylight. The expected invading Japanese ships were nowhere to be found, as well as supposed downed enemy aircrafts as previously reported are nowhere to be found. Further inspection recorded 0 damage was reported on the structures of the city itself from foreign bombs or ammunition. Confused and embarrassed, with no explanation for the morning's events, the military on the ground focused instead on arresting 20 Japanese Americans for allegedly trying to signal the mysterious enemy aircraft. After the events above Los Angeles, the United States Congress demanded an explanation of whether the activity was a simulated raid, a possible case of mistaken identity, or a push to take away Southern California's war industries. Both the Army and Navy were scrutinized and held accountable for the event. Coordination was vital for the monitoring of the airspace above Los Angeles. The credibility of reports of an attack had begun to be shaken before the blackout was lifted. This message predicted that developments would prove that most previous reports had been greatly exaggerated. At a press conference on the 25th of February, Navy personnel confirmed that the raid was just a false alarm. At the same conference, they admitted that attacks were always possible. The Navy also indicated that facilities positioned along the coast ought to be moved inland. Both the Navy and Army proposed 2 theories for the initial detection of planes above the airspace of Los Angeles. They were commercial planes operated by an enemy from secret fields in California or Mexico. Or maybe, they were light planes launched from Japanese submarines. In either case, the enemy's purpose was supposed to be to locate anti-aircraft defenses in the area, or to deliver a blow at civilian morale. At the end of the war, official statement by the Japanese stated that they did not send planes over the area at the time of this alert, although submarine-launched aircraft were subsequently used over Seattle. A careful study of the evidence suggests that meteorological balloons, known to have been released over Los Angeles, may well have caused the initial alarm. This theory is supported by the fact that anti-aircraft artillery units were officially criticized for wasting ammunition on targets which moved slowly to have been classified as airplanes. After the firing started, careful observation was difficult because of drifting smoke from the shell bursts. The acting commander of the anti-aircraft artillery brigade stated, he was initially convinced that he had seen 15 planes, but had quickly decided that he was seeing smoke. Credible personnel on the ground witnessed the shooting and wrote, they were never able to make out an airplane. It is hard to see. They also questioned the motives of the attack, in which no bombs were dropped, unless perhaps the purpose was aerial reconnaissance. Another speculation is a possible extraterrestrial attack on home soil. Some witnesses claimed that the artillery fired on the object hovering above Los Angeles did not connect. It was going through the object as per some eyewitnesses. A photo was later presented as physical proof of the said object. Focused by multiple lights, it projected an object above the skies of Los Angeles. Further investigation was conducted on the photo issued to the public. It was later concluded that it was common for newspapers to use artists to retouch images because of poor reproduction. In conclusion, the events was a combination of several factors. Mainly the attacks on Pearl Harbor and oil facilities in American soil, which caused jitters to American citizens and possible trigger fingers in military personnel. With the combination of lack of proper coordination with military parties involved, the said event became a lesson for the betterment of the military's coordination and readiness with regards to its response to such events.